Y'all killing me with this.
All right, so let's dive into a little bit of this Chrissy chaos. Chrissy being drunk as hell on his podcast, right? So this guy, he's talking a lot of shit this episode. And if you know anything about Chris, you know that he tends to flip-flop a lot with his confidence. And this tends to cause huge rifts in his family life. Let me explain to you. So he used to have like a really, really nice, almost mansion in the middle of like Staten Island, right? He was doing real good. Podcast was doing great. Just had a Netflix comedy special, selling tickets out the ass, right? So he's doing real nice. He buys this property less than a year in. This guy starts getting the craziest case of imposter syndrome you've ever seen. And when he does, he ends up uprooting his family, selling the house on Staten Island, and moving into like an apartment in Brooklyn or something, right? That was like 4 years ago, I want to say. Ever since that time, this guy has been bouncing his family around. House to apartment to house. Roaches over here. Landlord sucks over there. This guy's wife practically getting ready to leave his ass off of all of this crazy shit. You're too old to be making all of these like irrational decisions, bro. You gotta like, keep everybody in check. It's real selfish behavior. You're not thinking about your family, your daughter's school, her friends, none of that shit. You're just moving everybody around. And he's basically getting to the point to where like everybody in this guy's life is kind of starting to hate him. And he starts talking about that less than a minute into this podcast. Now check it. He's already got a glass of wine. He's ready to go. Look at this face. This face is going to get redder as the time codes go on. This glass of wine is never empty. Let's listen to what this drunk asshole has to say.
Even though he said he's willing to have a gout flare-up in the name of holiday season. We have a good episode for you today. It's just me solo. I asked Sam Morrill, I asked Mark Norman. They said they couldn't make it, but have no fear. The guests on Chrissy Chaos are going to get to another level because not only have we hired a booking person, a.k.a. Jasmine, is going to start fucking DMing you pieces of shit, and to get you into the podcast, but two,
Look at that. I didn't even notice this until now. Look at how his producer, the two different angles that he's got, they're color graded completely fucking different than each other. Watch this. Look at how different these two frames are. Let's get to it. Come on, baby. Come on, Chrissy. Come on, Chrissy. Show me that goddamn frame. There we go. Look at this. Look at the contrast is different. His skin tone's different. The exposure's different. Now watch when you go into the next frame. What the fuck is this? Exposed like a motherfucker. Different color contrast. Everything's different in the goddamn frame. Let's give it up for the homeless pimp. Probably the shittiest producer in podcast history. Craziest thing is this guy works for like Discovery Channel or some shit. Like what's happening over there? Okay. So now we got Chris sitting here talking about how basically nobody wants to do his podcast, right? He's going to have his wife, Jazz, do the booking for the show, right? Think about that. Some fucking snippy Puerto Rican bitch from the Bronx calls up your phone. Hey, mister, what you gonna do the podcast? Huh? You gonna come over to the podcast? I'd be like, shut the fuck up, bitch. And then you go and say, oh, I can't make it. She threatens to like slash your tires or some shit. Like that's what Chris, I'm telling you, anytime you've ever seen him talk about his wife, who used to be his girlfriend, when you'd see her on the podcast when she was his girlfriend, bro, this guy would say something about a girl. She comes into the podcast, starts interrupting it, talking shit. Like, bro, we don't want to listen to you argue with your stupid Puerto Rican girlfriend on air. I'm sorry. And then think about it. You get a call from this random chick. She doesn't know how to talk to these people. She doesn't know probably anything when it comes to the logistics of it. Hey, do we got to get you an Uber, hotel rooms? But you hit her with like 3 things at once, she probably is going to fucking break. Like, so you getting your girlfriend in the mix, she's going to fuck the shit up. It's going to cause you more stress, going to cause more problems in your personal life. You can't do this kind of shit, right? So he's already fucking up with this. Then we get into this whole Chrissy life changes, bro. He's about to start talking about all these great changes that he's making in his life, right? It's about goddamn time. You've been fucking them all up for the past 4 years. Let's hear what you got for us.
Let me just be honest with you where I'm at as a person right now. I had some big changes in my life recently come up. Little nervous, okay? Here's the thing. I'm nervous about some decisions that I made and some upcoming things in my life. I'm very nervous about it. But there's an excitement in the nervousness. There's an excitement in saying, you know what? You're going to get out of your comfort zone here, okay? You're going to go for something. You're going to go for something that's outside of your comfort zone, and you're going to fucking try, dude. I feel excited about that, but I feel nervous because if it doesn't work out, I'm going to really be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your wife's going to leave you? Is that what you're talking about? See, this is the type of shit. We don't know what the decision is, but I'll tell you right now, I bet you it's fucking, what do they call that? Impulsive. I bet you it's an impulsive decision with Logan Paul. Him and Logan Paul are going to start going into business together, and if that fucks up, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know if he's going into, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. But every time he ends up coming into these crosswords where he has to make these big decisions, he starts flailing like crazy. And basically does everything he can to self-sabotage himself. This guy, one time, he sold out like some crazy theater that he never thought he could sell out, right? That's when he sold his house. Then he gets a Netflix special. This guy buys a $250,000 watch and starts showing up on podcasts with yellow Jeffrey Dahmer sunglasses. Every single time he ends up jumping over a hurdle, he comes into a complete identity crisis, and he starts making the most outlandish fucking moves you could possibly imagine, and basically gambling with his personal security, like his life that he has at home. He starts gambling that shit away, and we're basically hearing him say that right now. I came into these decisions. If they don't work out, I'm pretty much through. So what's the decision? You getting more ads from your mom's house? Is your mom's house hooking you up with a booker? You know this guy actually works for Tom Segura now? All of his ads, all coming from your mom's house. This guy is Tom Segura's bitch.
Fucking try, dude. I feel excited about that, but I feel nervous because if it doesn't work out, I'm going to really be in trouble.
Yeah.
But I feel excited about the chance.
You know how they say 3 strikes are out?
Yeah.
You're going into like the 4th inning.
Dude, I've struck out twice, and
twice.
No, I mean, you struck out like 7 times.
So see, even his producers are like, bro, every other week, you're striking out, bro. Every other week. Now, remember I told you guys earlier that they end up rehashing the History Hyenas, right? Look at how big of a piece of shit Chris is. Chris and Yannis Pappis, they start this podcast called History Hyenas, right? And it's basically them two acting like fools, but they're talking about history. So they're trying to put a little bit of a fun spin on it. I'll tell you right now, it's the most ADD, like a kid on crack shit that you've ever seen. Like, you don't know what's going on half the time. A lot of the history lessons that they talk about, they don't know what the fuck they're even saying. It's all inside jokes. Like, if you weren't a day one listener, you wouldn't know what the hell's going on. And if you're a day one listener, you're probably retarded. That shit. Listening to an episode of History Hyenas is like listening to one of those radio drops where they're like, you're listening to K3105, one boom, yeah, and it has all those different noises playing at the same time. That's what listening to an episode of History Hyenas is like. So they start that show. It starts to gain traction. They actually start getting pretty popular, and they get to a point to where like they're one of the bigger Patreons at the time, right? And then Chris starts doing good in his comedy career, a lot better than Yannis is. And he starts linking up with characters like Sal Vulcano from the Impractical Jokers, right? So then Sal's dumb round ass goes, hey man, we just started a podcast called Hey Babe, right? And Chris sees, oh, this guy's a way bigger star than Yannis. I should start a podcast with him. So they end up going into it together. And what happens when they start Hey Babe? Chris practically spits in Yannis's face and leaves him hanging by the wayside. I thought this was fucked up. Caused a huge rift in their friendship. They didn't talk for like years after that. Because nobody could think you guys had so many Patreon subscribers. They were making like $200,000 a month on Patreon. Okay, well, what do you got to throw that away for? Chris saw dollar signs and he fucked up the momentum. And now that Chris's momentum is coming downward, he's not doing Hey Babe anymore. This guy just got done outsourcing his ads to Tom Segura's network, Your Mom's House. This guy can't make a right decision to save his fucking life. Okay? And now all this shit's coming to a head. He goes knocking on Yannis's door. Hey, man, you want to start up History Hyenas again? And Yannis don't got shit going on. I'm talking like he has nothing going on. Nothing. So Yannis has no choice. He goes, I mean, yeah, we might as well see if we can get some money out of this, right? Come to find out, Chris is so excited about this fucking them restarting this show, right? Only to find out that his producer and the people around him, none of them even fucking listen to it.
Oh yeah, yes. Let me say, Vito, who has just told you that he was a big History Hyenas fan. He's a good friend of mine now. We've been working together for it's got to be coming up on 2 years. We've known each other for close to 10. He's a big comedy fan in the comedy world. History Hyenas has been back for 2.5 months. He hasn't listened to a single second of the new show, the Second Reich, as we call it. And that, after I literally fucking took this guy out for a Christmas dinner, gave this guy a Christmas bonus, he's like, by the way, here's a picture of my open asshole that says, I don't listen to History Hyenas, bitch.
Dude, he probably tried. I'm not even kidding. He probably actually tried. He probably gave it a good shake. And nobody gave a fuck. Like, I'm telling you, you try it. Try it for yourself. I fucking dare you. Go and play an episode of History Hyenas. Don't do it now. Finish this one now. You do not leave. But after this, go ahead and try one out. Try an episode on for size. See if you can make it through 5 fucking minutes of that shit. It's crazy, dude. It's insane. It's like listening to like 10 car crashes at the same time. It will send you into a tailspin. So now listen to this. We just got done talking about good old JRE, right? Chrissy's about to talk about how him and Yannis, to help promote History Hyenas, they went on Joe Rogan. Now, you just heard me talk about the way that these episodes work, right? These History Hyenas episodes. You can't do that kind of shit on JRE. You can't go in there and just start talking crazy, talking out of turn, not letting Joe get his words in, saying like crazy outlandish ass jokes with inside jokes that only you two know. It doesn't work on Joe. It's never going to work on Joe. It especially doesn't work on Jamie. Jamie's like has no soul. So it's not going to work on either of these two. And Chris talks about how he goes on JRE and him and Yannis try pulling this shtick, their History Hyenas shtick on Joe. Joe does not put up with any of it. They bomb the entire time. And get this. They recorded the episode. Joe still hasn't put it out yet. Not at the time of them recording this and not at the time of me recording my episode. It's still not out. They don't even know if Joe's going to use it. Listen to this.
Let's hope Joe Rogan's show is out right now.
Well, it ain't. I'll tell you right now, it ain't. I'm telling you. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's go to Joe's channel. Let's double check it. I want to do a fair shake on this. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. We will go to Joe's channel and we will check out to see if the show is on there. So I like that. When Joe left YouTube, somebody swiped his fucking username, right? So now all he could get was powerful JRE. Listen to that. That's such dog shit. So now we're in the video section. We're going to go to the video section. Nothing. You got 2 weeks ago, Bert Soren, Julian Lennon 12 days ago, Ryan Graves 11 days ago, Rod Blagojevic or whatever the fuck, however you say that, 10 days ago, James Fox, Duncan Trussell, and now you got Michael Waddell. I don't see History Hyenas anywhere on that bitch. So what does that say? You bombed. You bombed so hard, as a matter of fact, Joe ain't even going to put the fucking episode out. Listen to this.
Let's hope Joe Rogan's show is out right now.
Well, we can just save that for the next episode because we should wrap this one up soon anyway.
Okay, let's wrap it up. And I'm going to tell you on the next week's episode all about Joe Rogan because it was, let me tell you, here's the thing with Joe Rogan is it's difficult to be in the moment, like in the chair doing it. Me and Yannis had some swings at jokes. Like, dude, Yannis made a Wegovy joke that like bombed so hard that like I had to bring it up and be like, that bombed hard. And then Joe was like, yeah, man. Yeah.
Dude, imagine that, dude. Imagine, dude, you, cause Chris, like, and Yannis, they don't have a good relationship with Joe. So it's not like they could be, oh man, that was a bummer. You know, you think we could do it again like next week or something like that? Like scrap that. Joe's gonna be like, no, man, I don't got time for that, man. I gotta hang out with like Tony Hinchcliffe, bro. You know? So they don't have that lifeline the way Shane Gillis, Mark Norman, Tony Hinchcliffe, you know, O'Brien, all these people that hang out with Joe and Austin, they don't got it like that. So imagine Chris goes on there. He's the more popular comedian. Practically has to vouch for Yannis to even step in the building, right? Yannis comes in there with the goddamn Wegovy joke, which, if you don't know, Wegovy is basically like Ozempi's, right? So he goes in there and makes a Wegovy joke. Joe's bald ass has never heard of Wegovy. Completely bombs. Crickets. To the point to where your friend / co-host has to sit there and acknowledge it to double down on your fucking bomb. And then Joe Rogan has to sit there and go, yeah, man, that was a pretty big bomb, man. You fucking suck, man. Imagine that. Imagine being Yannis Pappis right now and getting your fucking soul crushed live on JRE. Yes.
Like I had to bring it up and be like, that bombed hard. And then Joe was like, yeah, man. Yeah. and then I swung with a joke, like doing like a full Korean accent that like just bombed, like sweat dripping down my back. And Yannis was like kicking me under the table, like dying laughing. Like we were bombing. But at the end, I said, you know, Joe was like, I'm so happy to see History Hyenas back. Joe actually said it was one of my favorite podcasts. I was like, oh, wow, thanks. And then I said, you know what? We're happy to have it back. I said, you know, anyone out there, you know, you're listening to us on YouTube right now. We've been demonetized on YouTube. We don't know why. We're trying to fight. We only can have another chance to get reinstated come this February. So we have to stay within the lines and really kind of just be goody two-shoes and not give you the comedy that you deserve because we want to get remonetized on YouTube. So if you want to see the comedy.
All right, I'm not even going to let him finish. Before we end this segment, I just want to explain to you how big of a crock of shit that is. I feel like this is Chris and Yannis's way of trying to like convince the chat because they do live premieres just like I do for my show, right? So they have the pre-recorded episode. They premiere it on the day that they're premiering it, and they can sit there and live chat with you guys like I do. And I'll talk to you guys during the show while it's playing out. So they do that same thing. Now, I don't promote any like super chats or anything like that. You guys, I'll take your money. That's fine. You know, this show's got to make money somehow. You'll never see me on here going, please donate, please blah, blah, blah. You're never going to hear that bullshit come out of my mouth. You want to go to the site and buy a hoodie or something like that, you get something out of that. You get nothing out of giving me $5 to say like, hey, what's up, dude? And it gets like pinned on the screen for a little bit. That's bullshit, right? These guys, I feel like them coming up with this whole demonetization story is them trying to get you to sign up for the Patreon, to give them super chats, to do this, to try to bring the show back. These two got to be hurting for money. There's no other excuse because YouTube does not demonetize people like that. You might get 3 strikes, something along those lines. They might demonetize or delete your channel, but they don't just come in and like demonetize a whole channel. They don't just come in and go, your channel is so crazy that you can't make any money ever. Because if that was the case, my channel would not be able to get monetized. It's monetized. You know how they do it? They go video by video. When you upload a video, they scan it. YouTube will scan your video once it's uploaded, and they will go, hey, do you agree that this is on the community guidelines to where we could put ads on it? And of course, you're always going to say yes. At least I do. I lie. And then I say yes, and then YouTube will scan my video, and they'll go, nah, you lied, and they will demonetize the video, right? They basically will suppress the amount of money that I can make on it. They'll demonetize it if it gets copywritten, things like that. It's on a video-to-video basis. When you get YouTube channel strikes, then they will possibly delete your channel and all associated channels with it. I have never heard a case of YouTube going, your channel is so bad that we would still very much like you to post videos and risk you posting more bad videos, but we won't pay you for it. No. They're either just going to X you out or they're going to fucking demonetize a video. They don't just slap the whole channel with a blanket thing. So when you see a guy like this, drunk, looking fucking crazy as fuck, desperate as shit, lying to you about how his YouTube channel is demonetized, that's something that we just cannot let fly here. But I will applaud him for giving it a shot. Let's give it up for good old Chrissy Chaos and trying to get that History Hyenas money back. You know what I mean? I hope it works out for you, buddy. We're all praying.
And hold my fart like a bong rip.